Hey everybody, it's Eric again with another SimCity tutorial. Today I'm going to go over the best way to approach building an oil-focused city. So the first thing to do is to choose the plot. So obviously you're going to need oil. I've been kind of scoping some things out here, and this looks like a great place to start. So our resource focus clearly here is going to be oil. There's plenty of water, so we might be able to sell some of that a little bit down the line, but what we're going to do is start with this oil-rich plot of land and start building it out. Now, what's oil good for in SimCity? There's a few things. One is Omega. So if you get into the Omega Co. City specialty, oil is really valuable to have in your land there, so you don't have to bring it in from outside. Plastics, other types of stuff. Let's see, what can we build with oil? We've got our refinery where you can create petroleum. That's a good one. And yeah, so I guess that's it. So plastics, petroleum, etc., and Omega. So there's a few different things that you can use oil for. So let's get this city started. I'm going to kind of speed up the build here just so you can watch it grow, and once we get to the point where we build our first oil well, I'm going to show you a little trick on how to utilize the land, no matter how little it is, how to utilize it to its maximum capacity for oil. So sit back and enjoy. All right, so we've been approved to build our first oil well. Now I'm a little low on simolians, so I'm gonna just grab a $100,000 bond here so I can show you all how this is done. But let me take a quick step back and kind of give you the trick of the trade with building an oil well in your city. So as you may have noticed when I first built this doodaddy out, I made it really boxy and boring, and I know that it doesn't look great as a layout, but there's a reason that I built it this way, especially when it comes to oil wells. Oil wells and expanding them is very boxy, so you need a boxy area to be able to maximize the amount of oil that you can extract from the earth. So that's why it looks so boring and boxy, but I promise there's a reason for it. Step number 2, and this is another interesting trick that is really going to help you maximize the entire oil area under the land here. So see how they give you this oil well actually takes up a decent amount of land, but it comes with 2 wells ready for you to use. Well, what I like to do is plop it outside of the area of focus, like this. And I'll show you why after we get this going a little bit. So now that we have it plopped down, obviously we don't have a lot of oil under the ground here to extract. So, assuming that the amount of simolians you have is sufficient, you should be able to remove these 2 wells. But what we're going to do is expand the road over here to across the street. And remember how I told you how oil wells are really a kind of a boxy, obnoxious looking area? Well, again, it's for good reason, because now I can kind of build these lanes kind of like this. So if I go down here maybe about halfway, let's put this guy, just for example's sake, let's put this right here, and we're going to take this road and start making these lanes up and down your oil extraction area, just so you can really just kind of put all the ducks in a row and make it so it's very gritty and clean, and you're really taking up all of the possible land as possible. So we're going to start with this 1 well. Hopefully we can get out of the red before it's too late. So let me kind of work through this problem a little bit. I'll speed it up, and you can kind of see how I work this first oil well in the city. Alright, woo! We just had our first barrel of oil exported from the city. So each time you export whatever shipment of oil from your city, you're going to get $9,000 in the bank. Obviously that really helps me a lot, because I'm in the negative in a big way right now. But there's a couple things that I wanted to point out. We would have had a barrel of oil go out earlier, but because we have an oil power plant, the first shipment out of the oil well went directly into the city, into the power plant. So that was kind of a bummer. But at least we didn't have to pay $9,000 into the global markets for it, so that's good. It's all kind of locally contained, and as you can see, I'm at a pretty good rate now, even though I'm negative 900 an hour. I'm making, right now I'm making 18,000 a day, and that's going to offset my negative hourly balance really, really well. And the whole idea here is to just build up these oil wells and make a ton of money from it. Eventually, what I'm going to do is build out my petroleum HQ, so I have that ability to build oil refineries and other cool stuff that's related to oil. So yeah, that's the best way to utilize the land when it comes to oil. I can't stress enough, plopping the oil well outside of your target area. As you can see here, you know, in the beginning, we weren't able to delete the two kind of default wells that came with the facility, but I was able to remove them because they're costing me money and they're not extracting anything. So I want to get rid of that. I plopped the main facility outside of my target area and utilize kind of this boring grid looking thing inside of where the oil is. So this is how you start your oil city. I'm going to let it run a little bit and fade to black, but this is how you make a ton of money from oil.